district who are eligible for citizenship who haven't applied. Hopes are having resources and tools such as this one will help encourage them to apply for their citizenship.
No, you don't have to live in CD9 to get all the quality services that are now here available. So any community south of the 10 can get services here.
I feel more empowered to have this organization, by my side.
While the office is open to those who live across South Los Angeles, the financial assistance will only be available to 9th District residents. In South LA, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
These services will be available through March of 2018. On a related issue, as of deadline time for this story, a policy allowing children of those undocumented immigrants to remain in the U.S. hanged in the balance. Gil Reyes shows us some local dreamers who potentially have a lot to offer the U.S. if they remain.
I met other people like me, and that completely changed my life.
Melody Klingenfuss is an undocumented immigrant from Guatemala. She also holds a master's degree from USC. In fact, the other young people seated at the table are a lot like her, all arriving in the U.S. as children and are either college-bound, college-educated, or have pursued advanced degrees.
I would suggest if the vast majority of people who are expressing opinions about this issue had the opportunity to meet our dreamers, they would understand it's just the right thing to do.
The right thing to do, according to Senator Kamala Harris, is to let them stay, offer a pathway to citizenship so they can contribute their skills to the U.S. economy without fear of deportation. Harris meeting the dreamers at the UCLA Labor Center.
It's about people who are prepared to earn their right to be here, who are demonstrating that they are earning their right to be here.
But as of deadline time for this story, the residency was in jeopardy. 10 state attorneys general had threatened to sue the Trump administration unless it scrapped DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. This 2012 policy has so far allowed children of undocumented immigrants to stay. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti says DACA makes good sense and also helps to prevent an underground economy.
We want to see folks come out of the shadows. It was a great boon to our economy. We have $460 billion in the next 10 years that dreamers will be able to contribute to the economy. When they're pushed back in the shadows, it not only depresses their wages, it depresses wages for those who are native born, who have to compete with people working under the table.
We're going to continue advocating for a permanent solution. We're going to continue being the voice of others who are afraid to come out, and we're going to continue pushing for some type of legislation that still allows us to work in this country and continue providing for our families.
At the UCLA Labor Center, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Senator Harris urges Congress to get started on passing the DREAM Act and comprehensive immigration reform. Over at City Hall, a new call for women in LA to take leadership roles as LA marked Women's Equality Day. And for the second year in a row, Councilmember Nuri Martinez took the lead. Anna Marcos explains.
Imagine a City Hall chambers filled to capacity with all women. That's what happened at LA City Hall for Women's Equality Day as Councilmember Nuri Martinez hosted a panel to talk about women in politics. The main focus, we need more women.
We're celebrating a 97 year that women got the right to vote in this country. So we're just reminding young women and women in general how to continue to get involved in politics, become engaged in their community.
Women's Equality Day does indeed mark the adoption of the 19th Amendment, which gave U.S. women the right to vote. But it has come to mean much more. Some of these panelists are fighting for our schools, for LGBT rights, for people in our state and our city, and some are fighting what they call our rape culture.
You know, I'd taken it for granted that we were doing as well as we were when all of a sudden Donald Trump was out there talking the way he was about women and our bodies.
This panelist identifies as both male and female.
When I walk down the street, when the police stop me, when I'm with my white wife, they treat me as a young black man. When I'm in the workplace, I'm treated as a black woman, and I'm treated as being angry or overly emotional.
And this panelist has decided it's time to run for state assembly.
And we had seen the rhetoric across the country about immigrants and undocumented people and women and refugees, and having been all those things and being all those things, I decided that I needed to do something about it.
I think we need this as young women, entering fields and hoping to take on, positions of leadership ourselves one day. It's very inspiring to be part of these discussions.
For many of the women here, newfound motivation to go out and be a leader. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Currently, our own City Hall boasts 2 women, council members Nuri Martinez and Monica Rodriguez. Visiting ships dock in San Pedro for a star-spangled salute to our armed forces. Gil Reyes has more from Fleet Week, which started off with a bang.
The city kicked off LA's Fleet Week with a double cannon salute from the hosting vessel, San Pedro's own USS Iowa. Navy veteran Dominic Pellicciati had served on board the Iowa in the 1980s and returns for the first time with his family during Fleet Week.
One of the best things I ever did was serve my country, and especially serve on an iconic historical battleship, Iowa. And it's really a joy to show them.
As your mayor, as a Navy officer myself, it's a big thrill for me to do this. Fleet Week is a great way to connect with our United States Navy, to see the courage, to see the bravery, to see the skills, to see the unmatched ability of the men and women who defend this nation.
Besides boarding the Iowa, you could also board 6 visiting vessels in LA's event, including the USS Anchorage, the USS Dewey, and the USS Pasadena, and for free through Labor Day weekend. Meantime, 1,100 service members tour Los Angeles during the stop. By early this week, they'll be gone. But the USS Iowa will remain in Los Angeles, open for tours year-round. The Pellicciati family says the Iowa is their favorite vacation destination so far.
We did a mountain to shore bike tour, we've kayaked, we even toured Warner Brothers, but this is way, way better.
My favorite part of it was like the turrets and the big machinery and stuff, because I love this stuff, big battleships, and guns and everything.
Area Councilman Joe Buscaino is fired up over other amenities in San Pedro.
Amazing project underway with the redevelopment of Ports Call, the San Pedro Public Market. We have new cafes and shops coming online, housing coming in the downtown San Pedro area. So things are happening.
Even after Fleet Week. In San Pedro, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Cities like Portland and Seattle also held Fleet Weeks this summer. San Diego, which began the tradition more than 80 years ago, will have theirs in October. Well, few neighborhoods are as racially diverse as LA's Mid-Wilshire area, and those differences were highlighted recently through an art exhibition that inspired peace and conversation. Gil Reyes shows us.
A mixing of colors to create something different. LA's Korean and Latino Americans curate a project, and this is what they got.
We came together to do a cross-community art exhibit. We want to show the city, the state, and the rest of the country that here in LA, we do things differently. We embrace and love diversity.
Getting them in the same room, getting them in a comfortable space, and what more comfortable, beautiful space than a space that holds all of this wonderful art together.
We're at the Kim family's EK Gallery for an exhibit called Embrace LA, Diversity Through Art. Embrace LA is an effort to increase dialogue on race and gender relations following a rash of hate crimes nationwide. This exhibit, just part of that conversation, led by LA City Council President Herb Wesson.
Sports, music, and art, these are 3 things that have been bringing us together as human beings since the beginning of time. I can't think of a better way to do it than with art, narrative art, abstract art, you name it, I think we've got it here.
Artist Joseph Chicas's photographs depict the struggles of LA minorities.
I have photography from protests where we have movements coming together like the immigration movement and the Black Lives Matter movement joining forces together to advocate for social justice.
While artist Eddie Lee prioritizes respect for women in his paintings.
I think that shows in the diversity of the women that I paint. I do paint a lot of women of color and all different ethnicities.
LA's first Korean-American council member David Rue also says the exhibit is a chance for young, up-and-coming talent to showcase their work.
Even the building itself, which was a very non-productive space, is now being used in such a positive manner. It's such great energy, especially during these times, for us to have such an amazing space like this.
And an amazing place to express different viewpoints through a range of colors and styles. From EK Gallery in Mid-Wilshire, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The center is an extension of the LA City Department of Cultural Affairs. Well, plays and readings about diversity also took center stage as a new act opens at several Leimert Park theaters. We're talking about the Leimert Park Vision Theater Festival, run by the Department of Cultural Affairs. Anna Marcos attended opening night.
The place has a speakeasy kind of vibe as Leimert Park kicks off its Vision Theater Festival of staged readings. But tonight, on opening night, no readings. Just a time to relax and enjoy yourself the way you would at any speakeasy.
Well, this is our culture. You never want to forget your culture. We're just sitting over at the table just talking about we as slaves, our family, how we came up as slaves, we're African Americans, whatever you want to call yourself. The idea is that we have a culture and we want to maintain our culture. Our culture is enjoying ourselves, dancing, writing plays, talking about our lives and all that good stuff.
The night of music and theater pays tribute to R&B singers Sam Cooke and Bobby Womack. Even the neighborhood gets its own tribute with a Crenshaw medley of songs. Earth Angel, another big hit with all the lip-syncing going on. But even this crowd pleaser gives us a serious peek at Black history. A black singing group wrote the song back in 1954, but it became a bigger hit when a white singing group released a cover.
Earth Angel, Earth Angel.
The hope is all this activity and entertainment puts Leimert Park back on the map in a big way, not just culturally, but economically as well. This year, the festival features 8 nights of theater with 17 productions. Organizers say they won't stop there. They want to grow the festival to international status.
I've always been ambitious. You know, most of the people say my projects are bigger than my resources and budget, and that's very true. But if you don't reach high, you know, you'll never accomplish anything. I've always felt that it should be Leimert Park, the worldwide destination, and that's what we're working on. So
I love art. I ended up at Dorsey. After that, I went to work for Roberta Flack as her first road manager. So I've been in art, music, like I'm 85 now, so I've been in there a minute.
And with tap dance, poetry, spoken word, bilingual productions, and a group of plays featuring Black culture, more art and theatrical fun are definitely on the way. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And by the way, one of the venues for the festival, the Vision Theater, is in the process of getting a huge makeover by the city. Well, it's that time of year when backpacks get bought or dusted off to make room for school books. But at one Eastside Elementary School, backpacks are part of a free giveaway thanks to the LAPD. Anna Marcos takes us there.
You put together a room full of school kids, some generous LAPD officers, and lots of new backpacks, and you get some happy chaos. High fives and handshakes were happening all over the place as 126 students at Griffith Avenue Elementary got their new packs, just in time for the new school year.
I'm gonna take it to school, carry stuff in it like color pencils, the books, and my snack and everything.
Do you study harder with a backpack?
Yes.
The students were chosen out of close to 500 kids in the school, depending on who needs the packs the most.
There's some kids who are unfortunate, who can't obtain a backpack, who don't get new school clothes, who don't get school supplies. So when I was approached to give these backpacks, I thought just a backpack may inspire some of these children to be eager to learn, want to come to school.
Coming to school with a brand new backpack, I think gives them a little more bump in their self-esteem and allows them to be ready for learning.
The new backpack is so special, one young student is going to save his.
But I would take this when I'm in middle school.
So you're going to save yours, huh?
Yeah.
For the big time?
Yes.
Yep, it's still got the tags on it, and apparently it's going to stay that way until the big day comes a year from now. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Although the LAPD organized the event, the backpacks were provided by the Grace Ford Salvatore Foundation, which helps underserved communities like the Hollenbeck area. Another affordable housing complex for veterans opens its doors. A neighborhood festival highlights the benefits of solar power, and an intersection in the Crenshaw district becomes a temporary gathering space for the community. All these stories in City Beat. Councilmember Gil Cedillo, other community members and groups were on hand for the grand opening of the Marmion Way Apartments in Cypress Park, a new affordable housing complex for veterans and their families. Marmion Way Apartments consists of 49 new affordable homes, which will include services that are specifically designed to support stable, independent living among people who are transitioning out of long-term homelessness. On-site case managers will work one-on-one with tenants to ensure lasting housing stability.
Let's make this be something we do typically.
The third annual Solar-Powered Music and Arts Festival was held recently at Mariachi Plaza in Boyle Heights. The festival highlights the benefits of using solar energy and encourages residents to go green by connecting them to available resources and programs the city offers.
Because ultimately the environment and the environmental component that we're trying to promote here connects with all of the issues that we focus on, whether it's economic or whether it's just regular social service stuff. Like, it all connects, and we want to make that connection.
The corner of Crenshaw and 54th Street came alive during a Great Streets pop-up event. The community came together to enjoy the outdoor space with kids' activities, outdoor seating, live DJ, free food, various vendors, and a movie screening. It's all part of Mayor Eric Garcetti's Great Streets Initiative, a plan to beautify and transform busy streets into community gathering spaces.
This helps us to community engagement, to be more involved and inclusive of our neighbors, and to know our neighbors and to recognize our neighbors. And when we're in the public, we go out and say hi to them and greet them. So be more friendly and kind to one another.
Well, take the whole family to a community festival with free carnival rides and giveaways. Enjoy a performance of Disney's Aladdin in Spanish, and take in an outdoor movie before the summer's over. All this in this week's Things to Do. Save the date. The Office of Councilman Curran Price invites you and your family to attend the first ever UCLA Day Community Festival in CD9. Enjoy free carnival rides, giveaways, and application writing workshops. Don't forget to spread the word to your family, friends, and neighbors. Everyone is welcome. It all takes place Saturday, September 9th at the South Park Recreation Center at 345 East 51st Street. For more information, call the Councilman's office at 323-846-2651. Councilmember Gil Cedillo and TNH Productions are presenting a live stage production of Aladdin in association with El Centro del Pueblo and Casa 0101 Theater. When the rebellious princess and a delinquent street rat meet in the marketplace, they find something special in one another, rise above the barriers between them, and with a little magic help create a better future. This production is performed in English and Spanish at the Los Angeles Theater Center in downtown Los Angeles at 514 South Spring Street. The performances take place from September 7th through the 17th. For more, visit thelatc.org. If you love Julie Andrews and James Garner, then don't miss a screening of Victor Victoria at Echo Park Lake. It's all part of the Echo Park film series sponsored by Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell. So grab a chair, blanket, some friends, and enjoy a night at the lake. The screening takes place Saturday, September 9th at 7 p.m. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
What's shaking? We're not prepared for an earthquake. I love the rain. We're not prepared for a flood.
Sure, in the movies, this is all pretend, but in real life, you gotta be prepared for any type of an emergency. You can't predict, but you can prepare.
Yeah.
How'd you know?
The ball called Be Prepared at LAFD.org.
Hola, soy Marisol, desde Canoga Park, la ciudad toda americana. Estás viendo LA City View, Canal 35, nuestra ciudad, nuestro canal.
Good morning, everyone. Please take your seats. Shh. Please take your seats. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, September 5th. I want to welcome you to City Hall and to your Los Angeles City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The public is welcome. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Would you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Heristason, Weiser, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Weezer moves. Mr. Bonin seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Koretz moves and Ms. Martinez seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Okay, if I could ask all of us to rise. We're going to be led in our salute to the flag by our former CAO, who's with us today, Miguel Santana. Miss.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Santana. All right, Madam Clerk, let's go through the agenda.
Mr. President, there are requests to continue item 3 until Friday, June 8th, and item 21 for 2 weeks to September 19th.
Okay, so without objection.
Items 1 through 18 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Mr. O'Farrell?
Item 1 special, please.
Let's hold item 1 at Mr. O'Farrell's request. Ms. Martinez?
Special for Mr. Krikorian? I'm
Which-
sorry, 12?
12. We'll hold item 12. Let us prepare to vote on the remaining items. Please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
6 forthwith. Okay, continue, Madam Clerk.
Items 19 through 30 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do you have cards on these items?
Yes, there are cards on all items.
Okay, continue, please.
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations or items called special.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm looking towards, there he is. Mr. O'Farrell, it's my understanding that we need to get you up first.
Good morning, colleagues, and everyone who is in council chambers this morning, welcome. I want to also welcome our City Controller, Ron Galperin, and our colleague, Mike Bonin. We have a very special presentation today. We are here to seek your participation in a professional clothing drive for LGBT homeless youth. I want to acknowledge our Controller, Galperin, for organizing this clothing drive with the LGBT Los Angeles Center. I also would like to acknowledge Simon Costello, Director of Youth and Family Services at the Los Angeles LGBT Center, and thank his team for working to provide a safe space for our LGBT homeless youth. This is why clothing drives like this are so important, to raise awareness about the issues facing our homeless youth. 40% of them in Hollywood are known to be of the LGBT community between the ages of 18 and 24. Many come to Hollywood filled with hopes and dreams in search of a better life and a more accepting community. However, many arrive here to face adversity and danger and struggle to find employment. This is particularly true of the transgender community, who face additional challenges such as violence and abuse. We are committed to helping people find jobs, and that includes assisting those who face profound barriers in some instances to employment. With this clothing drive, we're hoping to reduce at least one of those barriers by helping job seekers look and feel their very best during interviews for employment or to launch their professional careers. In addition to the clothing drive here at City Hall, I will have a donation box at my field office in Echo Park on Sunset Boulevard, and the address is 1722 Sunset Boulevard. This morning, I was able to bring a couple of suits, very stylish, right here on this rack, that will no doubt come in handy to someone. And imagine if all of us in this chamber donated a suit or a business attire or a dress or a pantsuit or something that could help someone in the community go to a job interview and feel confident. Imagine what that will do for their spirits and their esteem. So I want to thank all of you in advance for your generosity, and I'd like to invite our colleague in this goal, and that is Mike Bonin. Mike.
I was on your left. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to make this presentation today. I want to thank Mitch and Ron and the LGBT Center for their great work on this. So often we have an image of homelessness, and the image in our minds is the loudest, most chronically homeless person who's visible in our neighborhoods. And the fact is there are tens of thousands of stories and tens of thousands of faces of homelessness. And there are so many young people who do not, to us, appear homeless, who do not even get counted in a homeless census because they don't appear homeless, who are really just one helping hand, one paycheck, one fresh shower, and one sharp set of clothes for a job interview away from getting back on their feet and into the mainstream and into housing. So this is a small but very significant step for a lot of people, particularly our LGBT youth who are living on our streets or in cars on our streets. So I'm glad to participate in this. We will be having a box at our office too. And Mr. President, they ask that the clothes be gently used, so I brought the most gently used item of clothing I have.
It's your
and will be donated.
That's just like new.
That was good. Thank you.
Our controller, Ron Galperin.
Let's give a controller a round of applause.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, council members. This today is an opportunity for all of the council members to come out of the closet, and everybody in this room to come out of the closet with some of your extra and lightly worn clothes, that is. Everybody almost has something that they may not wear all that frequently, and it's time to bring it out of the closet. And we are gathering these clothes in front of the controller's office at the mayor's help desk. The council members, thank you so very, very much to Council Member Mitch O'Farrell and to Mike Bonin for your leadership on this. We're also happy to make boxes available for each and every single one of the council members who might like one here for City Hall or for one of the satellite offices. It's really an opportunity to make a difference for our LGBTQ youth. And as we know, we have a crisis of homelessness throughout our city. But what makes a difference sometimes for people is just a fresh pair of clothes. And everybody knows when you're wearing something that looks good on you, you feel fabulous. And it makes a big difference in terms of getting a job and in terms of keeping a job. And when you consider what a very large percentage of our homeless youth are LGBTQ and the challenges that they face, I'm deeply grateful to the LGBT Center for helping to put this together and for being sponsors of this among the many great jobs that they do and great work that they're doing in our community. So please, to all, come out of the closet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Galperin. And representing the LGBT Los Angeles Center is an ally and a leader in this effort, and that is Simon Costello. Simon.
Welcome, Simon.
Good morning, council members. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to council members O'Farrell and Bonin and Controller Galpern for spearheading this great clothing drive and being such ardent supporters of the Centre for many years. At the LA LGBT Centre, we provide a lot of services, and some of the services we do provide are for youth who are experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness. And we provide these services to help them get off the street and become independent and stable. In the last 12 months in Hollywood, we have provided services to 1,200 individual young people. And the number of people coming to our youth centre every day has increased by double digits. So this is a crisis that we are addressing together. One of the things we do is we provide a youth employment program, which includes all the things you'd expect. It includes resume prep, mock interviews, job training, internships and job placements. We work very closely with the Mayor's Hire LA's Youth Initiative, and I'm really happy to say that in the last 12 months, over 140 of our young people have found employment. So we really like working with that program. Donating these clothes gives these young people an opportunity to look their best for interviews and also for those first jobs. And our staff is working right now with young people who are ready to get out there. They want to get out into the workforce. They want to start learning some good lifelong job skills, and they want to start earning their own money. So while I'm talking about youth and employment, if any folks listening are employers or they know employers, please keep us in mind. They can get in touch with us through the LALGBTcenter.org website or even through the HireLAsYouth.com website. Many of the employers we've worked with have told us that it can be a great benefit to both parties. The youth gain from working with employers, but many employers also gain from working with some of the young people. And talking about young people, I'm happy that we have one of our youth ambassadors here with us who has benefited greatly from our youth employment program and from the generosity of others in the clothing closet, and that's Andre Vargas. Thank you. Andre?
Hello, my name is Andre. So I was connected with the Youth Center a few years ago when I was about 16 years old. I was actually connected through them through a RISE program. It's actually a program that supports LGBTQ youth who are in long-term foster care. Give me 1 second here. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. So
take your time.
So sorry. So at the time I was connected with RISE, I was in a group home, and I was doing some exploring with my identity, which for myself was scary, which is process. It was just scary for anyone, but for myself it was a little bit scarier because there was a lack of knowledge among my group home staff, my peers, and my family members about LGBTQ-related topics and issues. So my needs to grow and develop as a young, successful individual weren't necessarily being met. So RISE connected me with the Youth Center, and since then the Youth Center has been a vital piece in my path to success. As a whole, the Los Angeles LGBT Center has supported me in my housing goals, my educational goals, personal aspirations, and they have been a huge help in my search for work. When I first started applying to jobs, I didn't necessarily own or couldn't really afford to buy any professional clothes. So when I came to them and they helped me out, it was just amazing for me because it's a very big barrier when you don't have access to professional clothing. And as a homeless person, a person who was experiencing homelessness at the time, that was a really big deal for me. So the Youth Center employment program made sure I had everything from dress pants, shirts, ties, anything I needed. Also helped me with like resume writing and applying for jobs. Made sure I got to my interview and looked my absolute best. So I would like to thank the center, but I'd also like to thank anybody who has donated in the past and who is willing to donate in the future. And I want them to know that their generosity saves lives, it improves lives, and I'm proof of that. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, with the help of the center, within the last year, I was able to actually land and complete 3 paid internships as well as 2 seasonal jobs. So that was a really big deal for me. Fantastic. Thank you.
I'd finally also like to call attention to a map that we've done in the Controller's Office. As you know, I love all sorts of mapping and data, and we have now mapped about 150 different LGBTQ-related resources that are available for the community, and that's at lacontroller.org/LGBTQ resource map. So please feel free to check it out and to forward it to folks who can make use of it. Thank you.
Okay, let's give them another round of applause. Thank you.
Thanks. So this professional clothing drive goes through the end of September. So you can bring clothing to Ron Galperin's City Hall office, Mike Bonin's office, my field office, and of course, after the month of September, you can continue contributing to the LGBT Los Angeles Center to help LGBT homeless youth and others. So thank you so much, colleagues.
Thank you.
Take a quick picture. Oh, sure. Come on up.
Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell. I'll make sure my husband empties out his closet today. Thank you very much. Mr. Wesson?
Okay, let's give them one more round of applause. Mr. President and members, it is my honor to, it's a little tight. Let me get some room back here. It's my honor to present to you an individual that is no stranger at City Hall, no other than our own Miguel Santana, our former CAO. Give him a round of applause. Welcome home. And he's here today wearing a different hat. He's here today to kick off the opening of the LA County Fair. It is the 95th anniversary of the LA County Fair. And as a treat to everybody that's here in the audience today, everybody that's in the chambers, Miguel and his crew from the LA County Fair are giving everyone free tickets to the LA County Fair. Let's give them a round of applause. So everybody that's here today. Now, like I said, this fair has been going on for 95 years, since I think 1922. And when they had their very first fair, I guess their calling card, the couple of things that they did that brought in people from far and wide, they came to see the wing walkers on airplanes, and also they had chariot races. Chariot?
That's right.
Chariot races. Chariot races. So anyway, that brought in over 1 million people. This fair, come on guys, come on. This fair has brought in over 1 million people every year of its existence except for one. This is the 4th largest county fair in the United States of America. Now you can go and, trust me, see a little bit more than chariot races and a couple of people. Chariot, I can't get over it. Chariot. I keep seeing Ben-Hur, chariot racers. I just can't get over that. But I mean, it is an unbelievable time. It started this weekend, and even though it was extremely hot, we still had a phenomenal turnout. So if I remember correctly, the fair is open from Wednesdays through Sundays. Is that the way it works?
That's correct.
And so
24th. Through the 24th.
Through the 24th of this month. So we're urging everybody to make the time to go see this phenomenal event. And members, many of you know the history that I share with Miguel. He and I first met at the County of Los Angeles when he was Assistant Chief Deputy for Supervisor Molina, and I was Chief Deputy for Supervisor Burke. And we would talk about the fair when it would come up and try to make sure we got tickets to give to our constituents and what have you. And I always found Miguel to be, if not the best, one of the best problem solvers that I had ever met. But Miguel, I have to say, when we would huddle up in those offices and try to put a budget together, I never envisioned that one day that you would be the man running the LA County Fair. It is our loss, their gain. The LA County Fair rocks. Everybody, let's give another round of applause for all of the folk at the fair that make it great. Now, some of you will have the opportunity to taste a couple of the goodies. Now, I met Rick Garcia, who is the owner of, I'm going to do my best, Dia de los Puercos, all right? Which is the Day of the Pigs or something. And it is corn and pigs. And there you go. I'm on a diet. I'm dieting. I'm going to eat it in the back. I don't want people on television to see me. Give it to me. And it is unbelievable. In fact, it's kind of ungodly. It's so good. But that's why you go to the fair. You go there when you're not on a diet. If you are, you'll get off your diet. So anyway, we want to thank Rick for coming in. Then we have Juan Vega. Juan, are you here? Cafe de la Olla. Is that it? Which is, or how do you say it?
Café de la Olla.
Say it again.
Café de la Olla.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant to say, exactly that way. Anyway, and they have some great coffee. Many of you will get a chance to taste that. We also have with us Cielo. Where is she at? Remember her? She used to be with the CAO's office. Now she's Chief of Staff for Miguel. We have Lucas Rivera, who's the Senior Vice President. Where are you? I met a real nice lady earlier today, Christina, who is on the board, Christina Loza. She is on the Fair Association board. Anyway, enough of my rambling on. Members, what I want to do is ask our dear friend and CAO to come and give us an update on what's going on. So please, let's give a warm welcome to LA City's own Miguel Santana.
Good morning. It's great to be back in this role. It's been almost 8 months, and it's been a lot of fun. My life is a little different. I've been petting goats and getting on rides. You can see it all online if you're interested. I'm inspired by Mr. Buscaino there. But this is a great fair. It is LA's fair. This is a significant part of those who come to the fair live in the city of Los Angeles. Over 60% of those who come live in the county of Los Angeles. This is where our community comes together, even in difficult times, to celebrate the best of who we are. And it's about bringing together food, music, and art, and being able to try things that you normally don't get to try for 1 month, and just to have fun with your family, with your grandparents. It's a place to let your hair down and really enjoy everything that we have in our community. And like the council president indicated, we're also a big promoter of jobs. We bring small businesses from all over the region to show their best products. And Mi Cafecito and Dia de los Puercos, that's based in West Covina, it's about to open up in Boyle Heights. is two examples of that. So it's great to be back to see all of you, and you're all welcome to come to the fair, giving out free tickets to everybody. It's, again, every weekend. The last day is on the 24th. Thank you.
And again, if you have an opportunity, you definitely have to try the
Elote.
Elote.
That's right.
Elote. You definitely, in fact, I may have 2 elotes before the day is over. But anyway, one of my newest constituents, Miguel, moved to my region. Ladies and gentlemen, the LA County Fair, the greatest fair in the United States of America. Let's give him one more round of applause.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. Mr. Santana, you look so much happier now. Nice to see you. Mr. Weezer?
Thank you very much, Madam President. And this year marks the 90th anniversary of Eagle Rock High School. They opened their doors on September 12th, 1927, 4 years after Eagle Rock became part of the city of Los Angeles. And I would like to get this celebration started the way Eagle Rock always does. Ladies and gentlemen, the Eagle Rock High School Band and Cheerleaders. Let's give them another big round of applause. Thank you to the Eagle Rock High School Band and Cheerleaders. And thank you for waking us up this morning. You know, Eagle Rock is a great neighborhood. Get a small town feel in a large metropolitan area. And it seems like that old Mayberry neighborhood where everyone seems to know everyone. And central to that is our Eagle Rock High School. In its 90-year history, Eagle Rock High has a lot to be proud of. It has an international baccalaureate and diploma program for grades 7 through 12, which is the only one of its kind in LAUSD. This program offers a challenging framework that encourages students to connect through learning inquiry, project-based learning, and community service. Eagle Rock High School also offers a magnet program to meet the needs of gifted learners within an academic environment. And Eagle Rock High School has been recognized by the California Department of Education as a gold ribbon school, Title I achieving school, and exemplary art school for its commitment to all its students. But not only is Eagle Rock High School doing great in academics, it hosts extensive extracurricular activities and clubs that help develop intellectual, physical, and social-emotional skills. For example, programs include a jazz band, a key club, Skills USA, a World Fit for Kids, and many, many others. And since 1927, Eagle Rock High School's newspaper, the Eagle Scream, sounds like the old Judas Priest album, for those of you who know heavy metal, and its Totem Yearbook have highlighted a diverse student body, involved families and community partners, and a steadfast focus on academics, arts, and athletics. And its success is helped by the community relations it has built throughout its 90 years. It has a parent-teacher-student association. It does many programs with its neighboring Occidental College to offer centennial scholarships and many other programs. And its alumni association strengthens the school's heritage and traditions. The Soaring Eagle Foundation, Sports Hall of Fame, and Terrazzo class plaques in their Alumni Plaza connect Eagle Rock High School's past, present, and future. And certainly, a great high school always has a great leader. And it starts here with our very own principal, Mylene Kipe. She is a longtime Eagle Rock resident who is loved by the whole community. Her dedication and love of her job are contagious. She is faithfully at every after-school event and can often be spotted on the sidelines of sporting events rooting for the Eagles. Mylene, your passion and dedication are amazing. I personally want to thank you and the entire staff of the school for what you do each and every day. Ladies and gentlemen, Principal Kipe.
Good morning. I often say I have the best and most difficult job of leading a great public school. Eagle Rock Junior Senior High School, an international baccalaureate school, opened as a 7 through 12, and I am so very lucky to have an amazing staff, students, parents, and community. I live in Eagle Rock Junior Senior High School. My oldest daughter graduated from Eagle Rock Junior Senior High School, and I have 3 more daughters attending the school. I live where I work, and I am so very proud to have somebody like my husband, James Kipe, to support me as a working mother, to know that it takes all of us to raise a community. And so I'd like to thank the LAUSD Board President, Dr. Rodriguez, my Superintendent, Dr. King, Superintendent Roberto Martinez, and all of the people who work in LAUSD to support our public community school. Please come to our birthday party. The initiative is Invite 9 at 9 a.m. September 9. We'll be celebrating our rich history. We have 90 years of yearbooks. We also have a museum of arts, athletics, academics. We hope you can join us. It's a free event. And come on, what else is free in LA? So please come. Invite 9 at 9 a.m. to Eagle Rock Junior Senior High School. Again, I am the luckiest person in the world to work at the best school in Northeast LA. I love Franklin, I love Marshall, but I love Eagle Rock Junior Senior High School even more. Thank you so much, Board President and Councilmember Wizar.
Thank you. It's always great to see a great rivalry between Franklin High School and Eagle Rock High School. And who's going to win this year? Eagle Rock. All right. Now, that wasn't loud enough. Who's going to win this year? Begin. There you go. And congratulations to Ms. Kipe. Your daughter was the valedictorian 2 years ago, right? Where does she go now? Stanford. But we go to we'll forgive her for that. We went to Cal. Go Bears. So with that, let me present this resolution to Ms. Kipe, who will be accepting this on behalf of Eagle Rock High School for its 90th anniversary. May you have many more years of much success. And students, you are an example of what's possible when you work hard. You work hard for your dreams, and you achieve your full potential. Congratulations to all the students and to Eagle Rock High School. Thank you, Mr. President.
Let's give him one more round of applause. I'd like to recognize Mr. Harris Dawson and Mr. Rue at this time.
Good morning, everybody. Let's give another big round of applause to the Eagle Rock High School Band and Cheer Squad. Good way to get us going this morning. Today, our colleague, Councilmember David Rue, and I are here to remind everyone and to mark September as Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in the United States. In our country, unfortunately, we still lose about 30,000 men per year to prostate cancer. It is the #1 and most deadly cancer among men in this country. We do this as a reminder to all men starting at age 40 to talk to your family members and talk to your doctor about getting examined for prostate cancer, especially if you have a history of cancer in your family. Like many other diseases, if you catch it early, the likelihood that you can be successfully treated goes up significantly. So today, again, we're here to sound the alarm and to make sure we want one day, Mr. Rue and I are going to work real hard on this, we want one day for this Prostate Cancer Awareness Day for this building to be as blue as it is pink on Breast Cancer Awareness Day. And so, is that all right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're going to continue to press on it and continue to make sure our men and family members go to the doctor and get checked and work to lower the amount of deaths that we have from prostate cancer, especially here in Los Angeles. My colleague, Councilmember David Rue.
Mr. Rue.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, colleagues. I would not be more pleased to join my fellow colleague, Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson, in bringing Prostate Cancer Awareness Month to the city of Los Angeles and making it blue. To encourage the increased awareness of this disease and discuss the importance of the early detection and treatment. This is a very scary statistic. The American Cancer Society has noted that 1 in 7 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during his lifetime, and that number increases to 6 out of 10 men who are older than 65 years old. In 2017 alone, it is estimated that we will see over 161,000 new cases of prostate cancer and over 26,000 deaths from this disease. Although prostate cancer is the most common cancer and the 3rd leading cause of cancer deaths among men, when early detected, it also has one of the highest survival rates. According to recent data, the 5-year survival rate for all stages of prostate cancer is 99%, the 10-year survival rate is 98%, and the 15-year survival rate is 96%. This is why it is so crucial and important for men to start their discussion with their doctors early and begin testing at an early age. It is also important that we eliminate and continue to eliminate any taboos associated with this disease and start having open and frank discussion about men's health. We must continue to emphasize the risk and explain how lives can be saved through awareness and the work being done by health advocacy organizations throughout Los Angeles. I'd like to thank Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson for bringing this presentation today. Awareness, education, and information are what's going to beat prostate cancer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rue. I want to call to the microphone today someone who's inspired me personally long before I was on the council, a man who helps organize conversations, frank conversations among men of all ages about the importance of taking care of your health, but prostate cancer in particular, from the Men's Cancer Organization, Mr. Freddie Muse. Come on up, Mr. Muse.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good to see you, Freddie. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Weston. Good to see you, sir. Good morning, Mr. Karen Price. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we are proud and overly ecstatic about the proclamation that's being presented here today. You know, as I stand before you, a proud prostate cancer survivor, just celebrated 10 years cancer-free.
Let's give them a round of applause.
So we started the Men's Cancer Network to advocate on behalf of men everywhere who are dying from lack of knowledge on this issue. This is a major issue, and our message and mission is clear. Cancer screenings saves lives. So let's talk about it. We conduct monthly cancer support group meetings to get our community men informed, enlightened, and educated on this issue. It's very important. You've heard the statistics mentioned earlier by Councilman Rue. So in the African American communities, it's 1 in 5 men today. So I'm proud to report that numbers are down just a bit, because just a couple of 2-3 years ago, there were about 233,000 diagnoses per year and more than 30,000 men dying from this dreaded disease. So I'm glad to hear that we're having an impact. And it's not just us. I'm supported today by Ms. Vanessa from Zero in the Prostate Cancer Organization. There are some others, Finn out of Quincy, Massachusetts, Blue Cure out of Houston, Texas. And by the way, let's keep our thoughts and prayers on the residents of Houston, Texas. There's also PRCC, PCRC. There's a bunch of different organizations that we collaborate with to help get this message out, because men everywhere are in need of this information. It's vital today, okay? So let's talk about it, because silence is deadly. Let me say that again. Let's talk about it, because silence is deadly. Please hear that. We've conducted a lot of research, and we hope it's appreciated, to be able to talk to our men through our monthly support group meetings with authority and confidence. Because I am not a doctor, and I don't play one on TV. But we've done a lot of research so that we can get our men informed with comprehensive information that will help them live longer, have better quality lives, and have more birthdays with their families. Man, that is so important. Do you agree? Yes. So we say thank you again. Councilman Dawson, we thank you so much, sir, for the work you've done in our communities. We want you to know that there's a film documentary out called Silent Killer. And it's about prostate cancer in the African American communities. Why African American communities? Because we are hit the hardest with this disease. More of our men are dying than any other ethnic group in the world. Our men are dropping like flies from lack of knowledge. We've got to get our men educated. We've got to get them enlightened. It's an important role that I took on myself to help get our men informed. So again, thank you so very much. We appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Wesson. Thank you, Mr. Dawson. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Freddie.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muse, and thank you, members and folks in attendance. On behalf of Mr. Rue, myself, and all of the council, we want to present to the Men's Cancer Network
let's
this
hold
beautiful
one second.
proclamation. We're holding 1 second.
1 second for Mr. In fact, before I call him Mr. Koretz, I served one of my dear friends I served with in the legislature. Freddie is probably celebrating about 10 to 11 years cancer-free himself. And so, Marquise, I agree with you. Let's kind of work together, and next year make sure that we paint this whole room blue. You can count on my support, and I'm sure we'll get the support of other members of this council. So, Freddie, we heard you. You inspired us. With that said, Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had a very dear friend who's African American and who died of prostate cancer. He was diagnosed a month before he died, so very late in the game. Didn't get tested. I wonder, since you'll have an audience of some folks throughout LA on our channel, if someone could speak to how difficult it is or not difficult it is to get tested, because everyone should do that, and it's certainly a missed opportunity not to.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of resources online for free testing. Organizations like Freddie's here at the Men's Cancer Network have other men that they can talk to depending on where they live in the community to find testing, when they should be tested, what questions to ask their doctor. I'm here from an organization called Zero, the End of Prostate Cancer. Along with Zero and other organizations, we have tons of information online, resources, questions to ask your doctor. When should I get tested? What are my risk factors? So that they aren't like your friend who are passing away unnecessarily, because prostate cancer presents when symptoms present and then it's too late. So thank you for having us here and for raising awareness to this disease, because we got to fight for our guys.
All right.
Back to you.
Excellent. So on behalf of the members of the council and Councilmember Rue and I, we want to present this commendation to the Men's Cancer Network. Come on, you got to get in the middle. There you go.
Everybody, fantastic.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, why don't we move to item 1? Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to rise and acknowledge someone in this chamber who is the penultimate public servant, who in her career has been a teacher, a Los Angeles Unified District School Board member from 1979 to 1991, who was a city council member representing the 9th District from 1991 to 2001, and that is our very own Rita Walters, sitting here in the front pew.
A
Ms.
pioneer,
Walters,
a trailblazer.
a trailblazer, an inspiration to all of us, someone whom I was very aware of back in the day when she was in her elected officialdom and as a council member, and who has been serving as a commissioner on the Library Commission for a number of years, and today she is getting reappointed. Ms. Walters continues to be a public servant even in her retirement, and what an example for Angelenos to follow through your example, and you're an inspiration to all of us. We're very honored that you continue to volunteer now in your capacity, because you believe in the world of possibilities that reading and learning present to everyone of every background, various challenges culturally, demographically. You really get it. You always have. And you've been a champion, and you've been a fierce champion for those who have been disadvantaged. And again, you're an inspiration to me personally, and I think an inspiration to all of us. You have served well, and you continue to do so. So we thank you, and I urge a unanimous aye vote in her reappointment to the Library Commission.
Thank you, Mr. O'Farrell. And I saw Mr. Rue. I don't see him now, but I was here the first day that she came into this building. And Mr. Rue, wherever you are, at one point, the chair that you're sitting in, in fact, no, Monica, she sat in your chair. Yeah, she sat right there. I want to say when she was first elected, and she was always a class act, always nice to all of the staff. We really loved her. I don't think there'll be a problem at all with this reappointment. She's tenacious, does her homework, and one thing, her heart has always been in the right place. Mr. Price?
Thank you, Mr. President. I actually want to just second the motion. We're so proud of the service that Ms. Walters has provided over the years. And in addition to providing extraordinary leadership here in the 9th District, she's now providing that leadership citywide. So we just appreciate your skill, your commitment, your visibility at community activities and events all over town, and we just appreciate you. We love you. Keep up the good work, and we're glad you're on the Library Commission. Thank you.
Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say, Rita, you've done so much in this community for so many years, but especially in the area of educating people. We couldn't be more lucky to have you on the Library Commission and to have had you on the school board and all the amazing work that you've done over a terrific career. So this will be the easiest reappointment I think we've ever had.
Mr. Rue.
Mr. President, I heard that you called on me earlier, and while I don't have her seat anymore, I do have the councilwoman in my district. She is a District 4 Miracle Mile resident, so I still get to have connections with her and talk to her all the time.
Okay, so with that said, on this item, if we could please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
You're approved. Reappointed. Congratulations. Okay, now we're going to start. Sergeants, we're going to do public comment. So if we could adjust the ropes. I want to start off with Mr. Previn. Items 19, 20, 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 38. Wait a minute. So item 22 is going to be continued, I'm told, for 30 days. So that means item 22 will be continued until October 4th. Okay, so that's no longer on your list, Mr. Previn, but the floor is yours.
That's the one where you resume hiring or
Mr.
face
Previn,
sanctions?
Mr.
Okay.
Previn.
I just want to make sure
speak
I got
to
the
that.
right
Mr. Previn, no, you don't. You're
22.
trying to be cute. Mr. Previn, I'm going to tell you this. Last time, speak to the items that I indicated that you could speak to. I'm not going to go back and forth with you. If you do it again, we'll go straight to your general public comment. Now, give him his time. Go ahead.
It's Eric Previn from CD2, and here's a little party. Item 23 is for the bicycle group Fleet Street. Blumenfield is making sure that they get some space in a parking lot that's underutilized. They're going to need a little power outlet, but they're going to do some public benefit for everybody. It's not free rent. It's free rent. Item number 24, sir. Mr. Englander's working on Innovate 18. So this is obviously a catchy marketing phrase. This is out in Chatsworth, Northridge, possibly near Prairie, 20,000 Prairie. He wants to get the light green manufacturing thing going. You know, it sounds good, quite frankly. Who knows what specifically is at play there. Item number 25, I would just ask, no problem with bulking up on the State Office of Historic Preservation requests and then funding, but just why not identify it as it's the Women's Rights District? We're going to be finding homes that have significant in the women's rights movement, I assume. It's only $40,000 to jumpstart that. So I think we should make it clear what it is, then people know. Item 19 is also a bicycle-related. Bicycle Coalition is getting up to $1 million to, I believe it's an education program called Safe Moves, where they bring information about safe usage. Item 20, you got Mr. Berghoff as the ambulance guy. He's the lobbyist who represents Axon, but also AMR. And here we got Englander et al. Trying to jigger the private ambulance permitting process. Maybe kick it over to the county, where Berghoff works very, very well, because as you know, sir, you remember Don cannot be left, and there's a bit of a infrastructure that he left in place where they can work very well while the new supervisors catch up to what's actually going on over there. Item number 26 is the mayor's Working Families Labor Day at City Hall. He's got a $2,500 grant. Working families, though we appreciate the free ticket from Santana, one ticket doesn't get the family to the event. So I would be happy to donate mine to anybody who has a family and would like to bring their kid. Item number 23, you've got O'Farrell, who is a naughty boy, excessive contribution O'Farrell, who got in trouble with the Wall Street Journal and others for his indigenous insensitivity.
Stay on the
I am,
subject.
sir, but he's representing the California cities, the city of L.A. You've deputized him because he's taken so much.
Stay on item 23.
Yeah. Well, is he not representing the California cities? Sorry, sir. I thought he was at the League of California Cities representing us. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you could give it to Buscaino this year. Item number 28 is we've got funding to keep the swimming pools open. I would say, how about the Algin Sutton swimming pool that has been now closed for an entire year? Let's get the Prop K money flowing, sir, not clogging up over at Wesson World and in our district for an up to $10 million Parks and Rec upgrade, which we don't need. We need a $3 or $4 million fix up the thing, get the irrigation going, not a high school regulation-sized basketball court, as Supervisor Krikorian knows.
Okay, let's give him his 1 minute for general.
Oh, you are going to allow that now? Okay, thank you, sir. So the 1 minute in general public comment, I have to raise up the Taste of Soul, sir. It's coming. Mark Ridley Thomas has $100,000 on the county agenda to fund that, and it irks me because last year they permitted Wells Fargo to fly the banner, and that's a big problem. And now we also have at the county the triathlons coming up, and Sheila Kuehl was out of town but wrote a check for $100,000, and Herbalife, unfortunately, the pernicious FTC fined up to $200 million. Mr. Corrin, you remember. It's upsetting. It's upsetting when the public funds are not shepherded carefully so that they don't wind up into the very folks who we're trying to protect against. These banks, these Herbalifes. Herbalife, as you probably know, on August 28th, they had a lawsuit, Mr. Cedillo. Glad you're listening. Very upsetting. They give them no limit about these supplements that are harmful. So they take a lot of supplements, they sell a lot, they tell people to sell a lot. They don't tell them if you take too much, you get kidney disease. So that's a bummer, and I don't like to support that
Thank you,
kind of thing.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Could you pull up Mr. Herman on the screen? Okay, let me see. Mr. Herman, you have items 19, 20, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30A.
Good morning. I'd like to speak to Mr. Bluefin regarding the relative agreement of Fleet Street use of parking lot of city-owned facilities. Now, you already know that most people
Mr. President, Mr. Herman didn't sign up for number 23.
23, fool.
No, Mr. Herman, I said 24, 25, you
So
did
on
20.
21 conditions.
No, Mr. Herman, we're not going to go back and forth. So please, the items that I identified are the items you signed up to speak on. So go ahead.
I know what I signed up for, sir. I signed up for item 19. Communication from the motherfucker city motherfucking administrative fucking officer relative to the fucking proposed fucking fucked up contract of Safe Moves and the fucking Los Angeles Bicycle Coalition, which I fucking don't care about because motherfucking road diets don't mean a fucking thing for me to cross the fucking street safely in this goddamn fucked up city that you fucking rookies understand what I'm talking about. To provide fucking school bicycle pedestrian safety, motherfucker, that fucking Angel Fly train can't even come down the hill safely. You want me to get on the motherfucker on transit education programs? I'm on topic, motherfucker, because I'm talking about the general manager's proportion of the Los Angeles Department of Transportation, the same fucked up transportation committee that's going to be publicized today later on in the afternoon. Regarding execute fucked up contract for Safe Moves to provide fucking school bicycles, well, no one wants to get in a goddamn fucking street and get hit by a fucking bicycle, motherfucker. Not even me. So when you execute a motherfucking contract with the Los Angeles City Council Bicycle and the coalition provide...
You got to move on to another item now, Mr. Herman. Go ahead.
Well, what item do you want me to be on, sir?
No, I'm just saying, you can't speak for 3 minutes on one item. So you have other items. Move on.
Wait a minute. I'm talking about item number 26, sir. Didn't I sign up for all the items on
Just speak to the item. Go ahead.
Who am I listening to, the chair or to the rookie attorney?
No, well, Mr. Herman, do you want to go straight to your general public comment? Then adhere to the rules, or we'll go straight there.
What's my last item?
Okay, no, you know what? Let's give him his general public comment.
Well, fuck that. Let's do it, fool. Let's just do it.
Give him his minute. Go
Fuck
ahead.
your sanctuary cities, motherfucker. Fuck all your sanctuary cities. Because this morning and yesterday, Trump said it. Let Congress motherfuckers work. Let that Assembly Bill motherfucker 1618 Kevin De Leon, that fucking wetback from San Diego like Jose Weezer from Zacatecas, do your goddamn motherfucking job. And the next time that fat fucking pig right there throws me out during general public comment, motherfucker, I got something to say. Oink, oink. And I got something to do. Woof, woof. And I got something to do as I walk out backwards with my hands in the air, motherfucker. That's bark at you all day long. So when you fuck with motherfuckers during general public comment, which you can say anything, sing, dance, and act like a retarded, stupid motherfucker with small hands and bad breath, I'll tell you what the way I fucking run this show. I'm the show, fuck you, or
Thank
advocacy.
you. Okay, you sit down. Okay, bring up Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh, items 19, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then general public comment.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential. Please, no close-ups. Number 19 is, this concerns Bicycle Coalition. I see no problems with the bicycles, except you allow them to ride on the sidewalk. It's against the law to ride on the sidewalk. Number 20 is the ambulance service permit. They're trying to set things up so there's a West LA, west of La Brea ambulance service for the people who live there. They're not Christians. And on the other side, it's for you black and brown people. That's what the whole thing behind here is, behind everything, is to turn this into two cities, a Jewish city and a Christian city, black and Hispanic Christians. Next one, relative to housing and development, no problem there. And okay, this is what happens. I need a piece of a parking lot. So I go to Mr. Blumenfield and I make a huge contribution, and to Mr. Buscaino to their fund, and all of a sudden, a portion of the parking lot no longer belongs to the city. The portion of the parking lot belongs to me, the greedy developer, and then I build a big high-rise on that property. Look at number 23. And I'll bet my left testicle not one of you sons of bitches and daughters of bitches will actually ask any questions about this deal. Why the hell are we giving away our parking lot? Why? Why? Because the people who are asking for it have Jewish money, which they're putting in your Christian Gentile pockets. And my mother's name was Bertha, and she was Jewish. Next, Working Families Labor Day. That was over the weekend. Did you notice anything? I didn't notice anything. I know that they spent $2,456 on Labor Day weekend. The mayor's work. Was his white ass in L.A. for that? We know he's out running for for president of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Here's your 1 minute for general.
Okay. Taking flight again. Okay, you spent $5 million repairing Angel's flight, and when you opened it over the weekend, it lasted for 4 days, and it fell apart again. It broke, and you almost killed somebody over the weekend, a passenger. Now, when Devan Maharaj was editor of the LA Times, this story would never have appeared in the LA Times because he liked sucking the mayor's cock. But unfortunately, his brown fascist ass is gone. He claimed he was white. And as a result, the whole thing fell apart, and the whole thing is chaos. We've spent millions and millions of dollars. The foundation
Thank you,
is
Mr.
crooks.
Walsh. Thank you. Okay, that concludes the multiple comment section. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. All right, so Madam Clerk, let's vote on items 19, 20, 23, 25, and 26. 19, 20, 23, 25, and 26. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Now let's vote on items 27, 28, 30, and 12. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we're going to move now to item 24. That's a 2-vote item, correct?
That is correct. A substitute motion has been posted and circulated.
Okay, so let's vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, now let's vote again. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Englander. Item 29, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask our colleagues from DWP to come up. Morning. So, colleagues, this seems actually I think this is turning into almost an annual motion, and certainly since I've been a kid, where we've experienced record heat in the San Fernando Valley. They say record heat. It seems like it's record heat every year. We have record heat. And with the heat, we're all used to rolling blackouts. We're all used to power failures, particularly in the San Fernando Valley. We've certainly seen them citywide and other locations as well over the years. But without fail, every summer, we have these blackouts. We have power outages throughout the San Fernando Valley. And these are heats of upwards of 105, 109, 112 degrees, often overnight, not only ruining people's food and their groceries, and many who are on very low income, many who, those are the groceries they barely have to make it and feed their family. But seniors, this is an issue of life, health, and safety. It also is a burden on other city departments, with LAPD having to roll out and control key intersections, and DOT and many others, schools, sensitive use locations. It really is a major issue, and often, and we have this conversation every year. The frustrating thing, I think, with this is that DWP has recently updated their reliability index and showed that we have and generate more than enough power. And the power isn't so much the issue. And I think the residents in LA and businesses have done a great job with their flex alerts and making sure that people can serve during those difficult times, and we've done a great job in doing that. The department tells us every time we come back. Everybody's really done a terrific job. We certainly saw it during the entire closure of Aliso Canyon, where we experienced some of the coldest and hottest periods that we have in a long time, that people were able to conserve and get us through those issues. So that doesn't seem to be the issue, because this happens every year. It seems that there's transformers and other critical pieces of infrastructure that leave us vulnerable. And we often hear, and only through the press or other media outlets, that it's because it was an old piece of equipment. There was too much load on it. It wasn't built for that. And certainly as we see more people using more energy, particularly with clean vehicles and plug-ins at home, there's going to be a burden. And I'm not sure what we've done to determine what these root causes are, what the last infrastructure assessment and updated plans have been, and why we keep coming back here every summer to say what happened and why is this happening. Ratepayers are certainly paying more than what they need to maintain the system and invest in the future, as that's usually what's presented here every time there's an adjustment to our ratepayers. So what's the problem?
So starting with a general comment and then getting into a little bit more specifics.
Until this council took the leadership several years ago to significantly increase the investment in infrastructure, this department went for over 2 decades without investing in the amount of infrastructure to keep pace with the age of the infrastructure. We have staff who are even here today in the audience who remember, they told me specifically the day that their boss came in and said, we are moving from infrastructure replacement and maintenance to deferred maintenance and significantly reducing infrastructure. And it stayed that way for almost 25 years till a couple years ago. So there were some specific questions about different pieces of equipment. And there's places called receiving stations, and that's where the power first comes in. Those then step the power down to distribution stations. Those items are about a 50 to 60 year life, and yet they weren't, there was not the replacements that there should have been, and even maintenance had been deferred. Starting 2 years ago, we've significantly increased the amount of testing of those facilities and doubled and tripled the amount of annual investment in fixing those facilities. We are catching up after several decades, frankly. We were changing out about 2 or 3 what are called banks. Every distribution station has 2 or 3 banks of transformers. We were changing out a couple banks a year of those. We're now up to 11 banks a year. We test those facilities every year. These 3 facilities that were cited in the motion, none of those showed any indicators that they were having problems or that there was anything going to happen in the near future. Others were higher on the priority list based on the measurements and the analysis. But we have doubled and tripled the amount of replacements of these facilities. And there will, if I could
just interrupt you for a second on that.
Sure.
Because I think you bring up a point that is worthy of discussion. So you say that 3 facilities that you had tested previously and recently,
correct,
weren't in jeopardy and weren't on the radar for repair or replacement.
Correct. We do a whole bunch of testing, and it was done every other year until 2 years ago. Now it's done every year. And others showed a higher priority, and especially the receiving station, which was in July, that caused the most people to be out. That didn't show any indications that there was an issue there.
How antiquated are our testing
Those
methods?
that receiving station and a distribution station tend to last about 60 years. The one that caught fire was 40 years old. So it is most likely, and we're going through the root cause analysis now, and it takes several months, but what we believe is most of the time when there's a heat wave at night, the temperatures cool off somewhat. And the equipment can cool down a little bit, and then it's like driving your car at 100 miles an hour for 12 hours or 24 hours at a time. At some point, it needs to cool down a little before it peaks back up. During July, during this last week, temperatures basically didn't drop, and some of the equipment apparently looks like the continual high temperatures didn't allow it to cool off and cause some failures. But we have to verify that with root cause analysis and make sure that really was the reason. But like I said, this receiving station was not past its estimated life. In fact, it was 20 years anticipated to last longer, and we didn't announce this. It just caught fire, and how it did and why it did, we're still going through, but it didn't indicate that something was going to happen or that there were issues.
Do we have a preliminary reason of the root cause at this point, or not yet? Is it too premature?
Not at this point, no, not yet.
He'll let us know.
Yes, I will.
And how often or regular, we'll go back to my last question on the analysis that we're doing now, the system checks that we're doing. How have those changed over the last several years in terms of inspections and system checks, and what's different now than it used to be?
So now, instead of going every couple years, we are going every year and analyzing. So we're doing annual testing. So
No, you said that, but what I'm trying to get to is how has that testing changed? As you know, you certainly 10 years ago you were testing every other year. How is the testing different today than it was 10 years ago? Not just more often, but certainly we're not catching systems that are failing. So the question is, why is that? Why is the testing not catching that?
Yeah. I'm going to bring my assistant general manager of the power system that does that testing that can come up and answer that more specifically than I. So, Andy?
Good morning, council members. Andrew Kendall, Power System. So, the whole testing process has evolved over the years. New equipment's come out, and we look at different things. We look at the analysis of the transformers as they get closer to failing. They will start to show higher levels of gas within it, and that's one of the things that tells us that it's in danger of failing. So that testing has come around more. It's been improved about over the last 4 to 5 years, the ability to get that and get accurate gassing levels. We test the oil samples to make sure the oil samples aren't breakdown. It's a similar test, but newer, better equipment that has been improved over the last 4 to 5 years.
If we're testing now annually, were these facilities that went offline and failed, were those tested on the annual basis, these particular ones? Because I would imagine in the last couple of years we didn't just switch over from testing every other year to every year, every facility. So are we caught up with that yet? And
yes.
Certainly on the priority list, you're going to test those that are at the end of life or over life, than ones that have a possible 20-year life left. Were these facilities tested recently?
Those facilities have been tested within this last year.
Within the last year.
Yeah. And some of the things that change with the conditions, as the transformers get hot, as they stay hot and don't get a chance to cool down, then sometimes that will cause.
So why is it that desert areas, places like Palm Springs and Arizona, don't have the frequency, the annual blackouts like we do? Is just because of the years long of deferred maintenance and replacement?
Yeah, I think it's the deferred maintenance that plays a big role in it. Again, I remember, I've been with the department 35 years. I remember almost to the day that our general manager came in and told us we were deferring maintenance.
Well, I remember them coming here and saying that.
Right.
Let me ask you one final question. Now that we know we have the revenue coming in, certainly there's going to be those anomalies where you've got a shelf life left of a piece of equipment for a number of years and it fails for whatever reason. But it's more the norm now, where we just see it every year. And now that those revenues are coming in, is there a plan to perhaps look at any kind of borrow or anticipation revenue bonds or whatever those might be to jumpstart and get in front of, instead of just playing catch up to a lot of particularly the sensitive areas and locations? Because this is an issue that is life-threatening and very serious. So is there a plan to, instead of just waiting as the money comes in, to jumpstart some of those?
Yeah, we've doubled and tripled the number of replacements that has happened in the past.
But is that faster than what the revenue coming in?
We've done borrowing as well to support this, so that we can get right on top of this and do the replacements now rather than wait for the revenues to come in. We've borrowed the money and we'll pay it through bonds so that we can do this on a faster track.
Okay. And just my final on this is, if you can provide, I don't know if my colleagues want it, but I'd like to see it, so I can certainly see it offline, that list of which locations you consider sensitive or due, or testing requires repair.
Sure.
So we can start looking at and planning cooling centers and notifications and the like as we start getting into further down the road on this, because it'd be nice if we can anticipate certainly some of the places we have issues at, and
Sure.
if we can be briefed on that, that would be helpful.
Sure.
And we can share that with the community as well.
Sure. There's one final document that should be passed around that looks like this, and it shows the number of projects in each area and shows the investment throughout the city in the number of projects, and shows there's a significant effort in the valley.
Well, it's based on a color-coded, so we can see the different color
Sure.
codings. They passed one out that's black and white. So you can get us a color-coded, because it's a color-coded map.
Well,
So
I had 20.
Okay,
There was 20 in color.
They're all gray. Okay.
Okay. If
right,
you
thank
need
you.
to speak more, push a button again, Mr. England or
Thank you.
Ms. Martinez.
Well, but, Mr. Council President, I just showed this to my colleagues as well. They cut my power here. So I don't have a clock telling me exactly how much time I had left. I kid you not. My
Mr.
station
Harris,
here
Mr.
has
Harris
been-
Dawson cut the
Shut
power.
up.
I watched
Problem.
him. I watched him do it. Ms. Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Englander, for bringing this motion forward. I want to actually, Mr. Wright, want to focus on the number. I had the department break down the outages by communities and by council districts, and what I've noticed is, for example, in my district in Panorama City this past weekend, there was 331 customers affected, and you only received 17 calls. In communities like Van Nuys, you had 46 people affected and 13 calls. There was other parts of the valley where you had 124 customers affected, yet you had 108 calls reported. So does DWP's budget or your work plan address this? Or communities like mine and, say, Mr. Weezar's, Mr. Harris Dawson, Mr. Weezard, I don't want to speak for you gentlemen, do our customers just get taken for granted? Or do you have a way in which to encourage perhaps people to call in? Because I happen to believe that some parts, my community, for example, I think they just sit around and wait and pray that the lights are going to get turned back on. But you don't see the high numbers of calls being reported, but you see the discrepancies between my districts and other parts of the city.
So we are aware we encourage customers to call us because that's how we know there's an outage. Mm-hmm. There isn't a system that goes from your meter to our energy control center that says that address is out. We need a phone call. So we do through our messaging, on our bills, on our social media, ask customers to call us. Sometimes they'll see us in the neighborhood, and once they see the trucks pull up in the neighborhood, the calls will stop because once they know we're on site, we're there. I don't know why there were few calls for those 331, and that is unusual.
Because we sit around and pray that the lights are going to get, we're going to get electricity and they're going to turn back on. That's what we do. We're not a community who complains and calls. I just want us to address that in our budget because it's certainly not fair. And as you can tell, there's certainly communities that have been disproportionately affected by these outages, and we simply just don't speak up. Mm-hmm. So we need to address this either through more education, more customer service, but we need to address these discrepancies because I just don't feel that it's these types of things are being addressed. I know the community of Panorama City was without lights for a good day and a half. That's a long time. Mm-hmm. It was 110 in the valley at one point. So, and to address why we continue to be here every year, it's global warming. That's what it's called. These fires, these hurricanes, these heat waves, it's all part of the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I just want you to address this, and I don't want to see communities like mine being taken for granted simply because we don't call and report these outages. Thank you very much for being here.
Good point, Ms. Martinez. Mr. Rue?
Thank you, Mr. President. I really want to thank Councilmember Englander for bringing this to the forefront and attention. And actually, my office has been working on a similar type of motion and with on a different facet of this. But I wanted to ask the question today because it's very critical that whenever we have power outages, that we inform our residents of it. And it's my understanding that you guys, the way it currently works is someone calls in. They notify a power outage, and then you get that information out to the other residents via your website or social media. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is, one of the problems with that, and I understand you need more infrastructure upgrades, but if your power is out, your Wi-Fi is out, so you can't get on the website, maybe some of the social media, especially with the phones, work. And, just at the last power outage, there's other issues like one of my staff has a pet at home. And when it gets as hot as 110 degrees at home, it could literally be a life or death situation for animals or even for seniors who are maybe bedridden. So there needs to be some sort of a notification system. Have you guys looked into some text messaging notification or some sort of opt-in where you have other avenues to alert residents?
We've started that project. That's truly if you've heard of smart grid or automated meter infrastructure, that's going to give us that capability. And that project has started, and the pre-work is going on right now, because once we have that meter communicates with our energy control center, and it can tell exactly you're out, your power's on, you're out, and we can then send the text messages to those customers who are out. Right now, we don't know where the outage ends, because it's only a reactive system until this automated meter project moves forward and gets implemented. So we don't know if address 123 is out and 124 is on and 125 is on. We can only tell the general area right now, not the specific address or specific customer who's without power or has power.
So is there a way that people can actually sign up for these text messages currently?
You can sign up for text messages, and we can just say, in general, this area is without power. You may be with power, you may be without power.
So there's a system of that right now?
There's a system that can give generalized information. It can't give you specific information on your home or
So I'd love to work
business.
with you more on that, and especially we have Notify LA as well. I know that's more of an emergency-based system, but there might be some leverages there. And and also, when these power outages happen, people are calling not just the department, but 311 as well as our emergency lines. So some sort of mechanism where we could free up our emergency lines, because we still want to free up 911. But I'd love to work with your department on some sort of notification system or some sort of a more robust system, and see what we could do about that. But thank you so much.
We're glad to. I did want to add as well that last week we hit an all-time peak. Councilmember Martinez was absolutely right. We are having more weather extremes. Again, last week by 100 megawatts went from basically 6396 to 6502 megawatts, and each megawatt can provide enough power for 500 to 1,000 customers. The usage was phenomenal last week, and that was Thursday we set a record. The Wednesday we set a record. We were setting records for the hottest Wednesday ever, the hottest Friday ever, the hottest Thursday. Last week was phenomenal in the amount of energy that was used. I will tell you, outages, because of mostly small transformers that serve 10 customers, we had hundreds of staff out all week long. And just kind of as an aside, the psychology of a heat wave that starts on a Monday and ends on a Friday, people use way more energy than if it starts on a Thursday and ends on a Tuesday. The fire caused us to evacuate both our energy control center and evacuate one of our reservoirs. It was a week that we have never seen, and it is indicative of the future that we have to plan for hotter summers, colder winters, and more extremes, because they are happening.
Yeah. And it's going to, because of climate change, we're going to probably see this, unfortunately, repeating itself more and more. Which is why I think some sort of notification system, and possibly just as we're talking here, having people able to notify the department through text messaging that their power is out by just putting in their address. That will really clear up our emergency lines in particular, but also free up 311 and everything else for other services. So I would love to work with you on that, with your department on that. So thank you.
Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I think Ms. Martinez's point about climate change and others that have been mentioned, I think, are critical, and we haven't seen anything yet. I may not see it, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we're going to be seeing 120-degree days. And we obviously need to allow for not just the worst of what we're seeing now, but what we're going to be seeing in a few years. So if it turns out that our 60-year systems are blowing in 40 years, we obviously need to develop some best practices for that. It sounds like we need to figure out some way to power down our systems and give them a rest in the middle of this kind of heat wave, so we don't have 40-year-old transformers blowing. So I hope we'll look at that as part of this process, because otherwise our 60-year systems will be blowing in 20 years or 30 years, and we know it's just going to get worse, so we really have to plan for that. But I appreciate Mr. Englander's bringing this forward as well. This is something absolutely critical for us to focus on in what is going to be a very hot area now and in the future.
Okay, thank you. All right, so with that said, why don't we prepare to vote? Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, what's before this body?
Council has motions for posting and
They are
referral.
posted, they are referred. Announcements, members, announcements. Mr. Cedillo.
Yes. Two announcements, both bittersweet. Today we bid farewell to our summer intern, Joy. Where are you, Joy? Hi. So we're going to bid farewell to Joy. She's going back to Seattle. She's packing up her books and her bags. And
Well, let's give Joy a round of applause. And Joy, thank you for helping us here at the City of Los Angeles.
Thank you. Okay, good. Congratulations. And then, Mr. President, as we mentioned last week, President Donald Trump was anticipating or expecting an announcement on DACA. We heard that this morning. 800,000 lives and 800,000 families and 800,000 communities they belong to are now going to be disrupted, placed in peril. We have no understanding or knowing of what the results of this will be. 6 months have been given to Congress to act, although Congress has failed to act for years and years since the Bush administration. And so now we are in a situation, the city, the state, the county, the nation are in a situation where we have young boys and girls brought here through no choice of their own, young boys and girls who are now good citizens, who have come out of the shadows, who have participated in this program, and who are in peril. The threat of them being deported and sent to a country they do not know is imminent. In my recent trip to Mexico, I had conversations with people. There are now 600,000 Americans who are in Mexico who have gone back with their parents. This puts another 800,000 young boys and girls who have grown up here who will be sent to other countries, not only Mexico, but other Asian countries and Latin American countries, to countries that they do not know. This will be disruptive to our economy. This will be disruptive to their education and their preparation to be future leaders. And this will be disruptive to the very principle that this nation is a nation of immigrants, has always been, is, and that is our future. That is now in jeopardy with the most recent order. We in this city should do all that we can. We have many DACA recipients working. I have them on staff. I know the mayor has them on staff. Many of us have hired DACA students to be part of our teams and to lead this city, and we should do all that we can to protect them. We should send Congress and the President a clear message that these young boys and girls should be protected. They should not be politicized, and they should be fully integrated into our future and the future of this city. So with that, I thank you.
And thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Cedillo. It's very important. That's why I was honored to sign a letter with you that we sent off last week. I have a feeling we will be sending off many more. Any other announcements? Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, I just wanted to say, this weekend was a pretty intense weekend in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. Just 60 days into office, I never anticipated that I would literally be baptized by fire. in my district. We have suffered the largest fire in the city's history in the Sunland Tahunga community, but if not for the work of our incredible firefighters, our first responders, the unified effort of the Glendale, the LA County, Burbank police and fire, it was an incredible display of what we do in times of crisis. And the fact that we suffered so little in terms of loss is remarkable. But I'm just very proud of the work that the men and women of our departments, both police and fire, what they led this weekend. And we are at 70% containment now. And in the most incredible heat, they did an outstanding job. And to the residents that were so charitable in supporting one another during this time of crisis, I'm just very proud of where we stand in dealing with this fire today. So thank you.
No, good job, and good to mention the great staff. Mr. Cedillo, I think you have a very important announcement about what's supposed to happen mañana.
Mañana vamos a tener comida gratis por todos que trabajan aquí. Tomorrow we're going to have free food for everybody that works here. Great food and entertainment at 12 p.m. After our council meeting and after our initiation of Latino Heritage Month. Thank you.
The other announcements, if we could all then please rise. All rise for adjourning motions. I'm looking to my left, Mr. All rise in the council chambers. I'm looking to my left, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, I ask that we adjourn in memory of Ileana Gavilanes. She is the mother of 2 LAPD officers. She passed away peacefully at her home, surrounded by her daughters, on September 1st, 2017. She was 72 and had suffered from complications brought on by a massive stroke only 4 days before. She was born on May 21st, 1945 in Quito, Ecuador, the youngest child of Gustavo and Susana Gavilanes. Eliana is survived by her sister Patricia and brother Juan, 2 daughters, Eliana and Cynthia, and like I said, are both outstanding LAPD officers. Her son-in-law, Jaime, my brother, grandson, Joaquin, and many other family members and friends. Eliana grew up in Guayaquil, the largest city in Ecuador. In 1978, Eliana graduated from Colegio Ciencias y Artes in Guayaquil with a bachelor's degree in commerce and administration. In 1980, Eliana decided to emigrate to the United States in search of a better life for her young family. She worked for the corporate offices of our ranch markets as an executive secretary for more than 10 years. She also worked as a seamstress and was an entrepreneur who ran a successful small business for about 6 years in Santa Fe Springs. She courageously battled kidney disease for the past 10 years of her life. She regularly underwent harsh and debilitating dialysis treatments that often left her weak and in severe pain. Even though she was sometimes too nauseated to eat and too uncomfortable to sleep, she fought every step of the way, never accepted defeat, and lived life to its fullest. Eliana was a devout Catholic who found comfort and healing in her faith. Eliana, who was affectionately called Cocha by her friends and family, was a strong and independent person known for her quick wit, sarcasm, and straight talk. She was a friendly and caring person who never turned down a chance to help someone in need. She always had a story to tell or advice to share. She knew how to enjoy life and loved to spend time eating and shopping with family and friends. She enjoyed dancing and listening to music, especially salsa and merengue. She was very creative and spent time painting, sewing, and dabbling in various crafting projects. She had an exquisite taste in fashion and liked to dress up in her colorfully designed shawls with perfectly combed hair and manicured nails. Eliana was devoted to her grandson, whom she adored. If they weren't dancing with each other, they were laughing and joking or just spending a quality time together. He was the light of her life, and they had a special bond and close relationship. Eliana will be remembered for her quiet strength, generosity, kindness, sense of humor, and zest for life. She was a devoted and loving mother and grandmother and dedicated aunt and friend who left an incredible mark on the hearts and minds of many. May she rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Huizar. I'm still looking to my left. I do not see any more to my left now. To my right, I don't see any adjourning motions. Members, this meeting is adjourned.